Hey, martial arts fans. Welcome to Beauticast, the podcast that brings you the latest news from the world of martial arts. We're here to discuss what's happening in the dojo, the ring, and beyond. From competition results to new training techniques, we've got you covered. And we want to hear from you. If you have any martial arts news to share, a story to tell, or a question you'd like us to answer, send us an email at hello@beauticast.com. Now, let's get into the news.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. So, you've handed me this stack of sources, and it's really something. We're going from the tiniest movements in competitive Taekwondo all the way to the future of artificial intelligence.
It's a fascinating mix, isn't it? On one hand, you have these super technical seminar notes on footwork. Then you have articles about nonprofits, tournaments, and this really dense academic research from Korea about AI and martial arts.
And I think our mission today is to try and connect all these dots. We're sort of tracing this core idea of discipline, from the physical discipline you need to win a fight.
To the moral discipline you need to build a life.
Exactly. And seeing how all of that might just prepare us for an increasingly complex world. So let's start right on the mat. The secret to beating a bigger, stronger opponent is surprisingly simple.
It is. And that secret, according to these seminar notes we've got, it isn't about power at all. It's all about controlling distance and tempo. Modern martial arts, especially a sport like Taekwondo, it's really trending towards taller and taller athletes.
Yeah.
So if you're a shorter fighter, just trying to power through or using that same predictable front leg kick, you're starting at a huge disadvantage.
Right. So let's dig into that. Why is being shorter such a problem in, modern combat sports?
It's all about the front leg game. A taller opponent can just use their long lead leg as a wall. It's not just for attacking, it's a defensive barrier you have to get past.
A physical wall.
Yeah, exactly. If they're even, say, a B+ at controlling that space and you just keep running straight in, you're giving them the fight they want. You're starting at a B+ disadvantage just because of, geometry. You need other weapons.
And that brings us to tempo and deception. The sources really stress this idea of being nonchalant, fluid. Almost like you're listening to music instead of moving to some fixed beat.
Because a fixed beat is predictable, the human brain is just a fantastic pattern recognition machine. So if your opponent picks up on your little 1, 2, 3, 4 bounce, they know when you're moving. And more importantly, they know when you have to reset your balance. Predictability it's the enemy.
So you have to be loose, light. And that slide forward has to be a total break in the pattern.
A noticeable change in tempo, yeah. It can't just be a movement. It has to be a cognitive disruptor.
A cognitive disruptor. I like that.
That explosive step forward has to be dynamic enough to just interrupt their whole thought process, force them back on their heels, make them flinch. The instruction is clear. Stay light, heels up, and then boom, an explosive, unexpected movement.
And this mental game, it's not just for the fight itself. They're weaving it into the most basic drills. Even just sliding backward in a warm-up, what are they doing there?
They're training anticipation. It's mental scenario training. When you slide back, you're not just getting out of the way. You should be thinking, okay, when is his front leg coming out? What angle do I need to be at to create an opening? You're playing out the next 2 moves in your head before they even happen. It all comes back to having a really, really strong foundational base.
It's so much more than just physical repetition.
Yeah.
And then they use this to manipulate the perception of distance itself, which I just think is genius. Let's talk about the half-step deception, the one where you step back first.
Yeah. So the drill starts with the fighter in a slightly taller stance. That makes it easier to lift the front leg. And then they take this tiny half-step back and immediately 2 quick slides forward.
So why? What does that little step back do?
It's bait. For just a split second, it changes the visual landscape for the opponent.
The psychological effect is, wow, you make yourself look farther away, even if it's just by inches, and you trick their brain into thinking, okay, I need to kick long to reach him.
And that's the trap. If they kick long, they've overcommitted, they're exposed, you've just used their own anticipation against them. It gives you that split second to shut the kick down, get inside, and just eat the distance.
Instead of just rushing in and meeting their power head on.
Exactly. It's using a retreat to launch an attack. It's brilliant.
It's maneuvering their mind, not just your body. And they do the reverse too, right?
Yeah.
The half step forward.
Yep. Pure psychological warfare. You start in a shorter, more compact stance. You take a half step forward just to test the distance, bait or reaction, and then 2 quick slides back.
What's the goal with that one?
It's about destabilizing a confident opponent.
Yeah.
Let's say you're up against a cut leg fighter, someone whose whole game is that one devastating leg kick.
Okay.
You have to destroy their faith in that weapon. So you're constantly feinting in, making them think about throwing the kick, and then you pull right back out. You get them uncomfortable with their own best tool.
You're basically showing them, I see your A-plus weapon and you can't hit me with it. And if you break that confidence...
You can turn their A-plus game into a C game. Fast. It just proves that the physical technique it's just the delivery system for your mental strategy.
So the big takeaway here is that mastery isn't about being stronger. It's about controlling the flow, the distance, and the mind of the person across from you.
That's the foundation of all high-level competition.
And that idea of a deep, profound discipline, it's a perfect bridge to our next topic. Because that same self-control isn't just for the ring. It's what martial arts can build in our communities.
Absolutely. We see that so clearly in the story from Hialeah, the Millennium Martial Arts Academy. The owner, Damian Rodriguez, he started a nonprofit called Diamond.
To give free karate classes.
To give free karate classes to kids whose families just can't afford it.
And his motivation, it came from this unbelievable tragedy, a car accident when he was 13.
Yeah, a severe crash. He was actually thrown from the car, landed in the middle of Alligator Alley. He survived, but his father, who was in the same crash, died. He believes he survived for a purpose.
And that purpose became the academy.
It did. He saw how loss or difficulty, a divorce, losing a parent, even just money problems can really destabilize a kid's life. So this nonprofit, it makes sure that the structure of martial arts is available to everyone.
And it's teaching so much more than just punches and kicks. We're talking discipline, respect, confidence, time management. These are tools that you can use in school, in life.
Exactly. I mean, if you can learn to focus long enough to master a complex form, you can learn to focus on your homework. If you can show respect to your instructor in the dojo, you can show respect to your teacher in the classroom.
Yeah.
It builds that crucial mental foundation.
And this isn't just a local thing. We saw this idea echoed all over the world. There's that story about Martin Mangwanjo, a disabled practitioner in Cameroon.
Who said Chinese martial arts gave him peace and purpose. Moral strength.
It really speaks to the universal value, doesn't it? The patience, the repetition, learning to fail and get back up. It becomes a sort of anchor against everything life throws at you.
It really does.
And, shifting back to competition for a second, we see that foundation paying off. The ATA martial arts community, they just returned to Little Rock for a big tournament, the Hewley Classic.
And you see the young talent, too. Sophia Quiz, a sixth grader, Filipino-American. She just won her division at the Promac National Championship. It's just a great reminder that these disciplines are alive and well in the next generation.
Which brings us to our final and I think most intriguing pivot, the collision of this ancient discipline with the technological future. Because while Sophia is competing in Texas, Taekwondo researchers in Korea are using the sport to understand artificial intelligence.
This is where the sources just take this incredible turn. So the Taekwondo Promotion Foundation and the Korean Martial Arts Association held this academic conference.
Right.
And the theme was, to put it mildly, ambitious. The tasks and prospects of artificial intelligence, martial arts, research.
They're not just talking about using AI to score fights. They are trying to use martial arts to understand the AI singularity.
Yeah.
That theoretical moment when AI becomes super intelligent.
And the question is, why martial arts? And what's so fascinating is that these disciplines they're highly structured, but they're also incredibly nuanced. They involve these non-linear, unpredictable decisions that are really, really hard for a normal algorithm to copy.
So they're looking at what makes us human, these unique points.
Exactly. The sources mention research into virtual taekwondo, which, makes sense. But then they also talk about the emotional fusion of martial arts and dance.
The emotional fusion of martial arts and dance. What does that even mean?
Well, I mean, if you think about what separates human movement from just, an optimized algorithm, it's things like flow, creativity, emotion, things you find in dance and in high-level martial arts.
So maybe. They're trying to figure out how to design an AI that can handle things that can't be quantified, like human creativity.
Or maybe even anticipate non-algorithmic human behavior. If you can somehow code the flow or the emotional intent behind a movement, that tells you a lot about how to prepare for an intelligence that thinks differently than we do.
It's a massive philosophical goal.
Yeah.
But you have to contrast that quest for technological perfection with the immediate painful reality of the human body.
The contrast is so stark. There was that recent karate combat event, Rafael Alves. He suffered this awful freak knee injury in the first round.
And he wasn't even hit, right? He just stepped up onto the pit wall.
Just an awkward movement. You could hear it in the commentary, the way he just pulled up immediately. It's a reminder of how fragile those little stabilizer ligaments are.
Yeah.
After all that training, all that technique, one wrong step.
It really puts the fragility of the human body in perspective, especially when you're talking about a resilient, self-improving AI.
Yeah. But even in that moment of pain, you saw that moral foundation we were talking about. The winner, Luis Pineda, he refused to celebrate. He knew it was a fluke, an unfortunate injury, and he told the crowd not to clap. That respect it's ingrained.
So when you put it all together, what does it all mean? We've seen martial arts as this.
Yeah.
This ultimate foundational discipline. It's technical mastery, like that half step, being used for mental deception.
And it's a vehicle for building community, for giving kids moral strength.
And now, in its most abstract form, it's being used as a map to understand the future of intelligence itself.
And the lesson is the same across the board. Success, whether it's in a fight, in your life, or in preparing for the future, it all requires a strong, adaptable base. The Taekwondo masters teach fluidity to handle a changing opponent, and that's the exact same principle you need to handle a changing world.
We started this deep dive talking about how masters use this unpredictable, nonchalant flow to exploit human anticipation, to break an opponent's confidence. So if researchers are now studying these very human ideas, deception, flow, emotion, to understand the path to AI singularity, what does that tell us about the ultimate value of our own unpredictability? If the algorithms are all striving for perfection and efficiency, maybe the greatest lesson from the mat is the enduring power of just being fluid, loose, and wonderfully, algorithmically unpredictable.
That's it for this episode. Thanks for joining us to talk about the latest in martial arts. We'll be back with another round of news, stories, and insights. Until then, remember to train hard and stay humble. And don't forget, if you have any news you'd like to share, you can always reach us at hello@budacast.com. Now go practice your forms.